if it's Saturday night, it is strictly Sports NFL Saturday. Hello, Brendan. Anthony Florio here with you tonight. Uh, Derek Ferrera not with us tonight. He was covering the UFC 181 pay-per-view. Mike Fletcher not with us as well because of other commitments. So Michael Bullock and I are going to run the show tonight. Yes, Movement's running things tonight. So there's really nothing left to say on that. So late start. We're going to get right to it. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently this time around. There will be no power rankings tonight. We're only going to do our predictions on the games, and that's basically it. I mean, I don't even think we should be even. I don't even think we should do our shoutouts either. So I think we're just going to leave it as game predictions tonight. I mean, when it comes to our shoutout, it's the usual folks anyway. So
Hmm.
so that's really all we can say about that. So we got a lot of games on the docket here. So we're just going to dive right in, and we're going to start it off with a huge one right off the bat. The Pittsburgh Steelers against the Cincinnati Bengals. This game will be on our affiliate, WPRI 12. Iron Eagle, Dan Fouch, Jenny Dell, they're going to be on the call for this one. I'm going to start it off. Huge one in the AFC North. I mean, you can't start it off any bigger than this. I mean, the AFC this week is loaded. I mean, huge. I mean, we got so many great games on the docket here, and this is one of them. I mean, man, very tough to call. There's no question about that. Um, Steelers, of course. I don't believe they were in action last week. I do know Cincinnati with a huge win against Tampa Bay, although they struggled to beat them. So let's get the odds here. Um, Hang on, just give me 1 second here. Okay, there we go. Cincinnati 3 to 3.5 point favorites. You can understand that. So yeah, I mean, first meeting this year. Looking at the history, it favors the Steelers 53 to 34. They split last year, both teams winning at home. So this game's in Cincinnati. Um, be honest, I'm leaning towards the Cincinnati Bengals in this one. To be quite honest with you, I like their body of work a little bit more. Pittsburgh hasn't really impressed me all that much. Well, actually, the Steelers they played last week. I just remembered they lost to the Saints 35-32 at home, and Cincinnati definitely looking like the better team right now, if I'm being honest. But don't get me wrong, I think Roethlisberger's gonna have a good game and all, and Le'Veon Bell as well, and Antonio Brown. But Cincinnati right now, they just seem like the better team right now. They're starting to look like that team that was number one in our power rankings for a while now. So Andy Dalton, big game for him. You can expect that. AJ Green, Jeremy Hill, and whatnot. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals in this one. I'm gonna say final score is gonna be um, I'm going to go 24 to 17. Cincinnati defeats the Pittsburgh Steelers in what should be a great game, one of many great games when it comes to the AFC side of the ledger. So, nothing left to say there. 24-17, Cincy wins. So, with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this huge AFC North showdown, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati?
All right, thank you very much for taking us over, Anthony Florio. Yes, this is the Phenom and the Vice President of the Rhode Island chapter of the Yes Movement, Mike Bullock, here for another edition of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday. Sorry for the late start here, but yeah, and like you said, of course, Pittsburgh coming off of a 35-32 loss to the Saints, and yeah, and of course, of course, the Bengals, like you said, I mean, they're coming off of a win over. I mean, I just like their body of work a little bit better, so I gotta go with the Cincinnati Bengals to beat Pittsburgh. I mean, since it is in Cincinnati, so yeah, so I'm gonna say 27. I'm gonna go 27-20 in this one. I think Dalton's gonna have a good game. AJ Green's gonna have a good game, but yeah, but watch out for Ben Roethlisberger and Le'Veon Bell. They're gonna keep the Steelers team in the game, but in the end, I just like Cincinnati's body of work better. So give me the Bengals in this one. So with that being said, Flora, let's just move on to the next game, which I will be talking about.
Yes, you will. And one other note, real quick. I forgot to mention Pittsburgh's last win, Cincinnati, just 2 years ago, 2012. 24-17 was the final there. So that's the last time they won in Cincy. So moving on to our next matchup, another biggie in the AFC. Indianapolis Colts against the Cleveland Browns. This game's going to be on Fox this time around. That's part of that cross-flex scheduling, which I'm really not a fan of, to be honest with you. This game really should be on CBS. Anyways, Kevin Burkhardt, John Lynch, Pam Oliver on the call. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on Indianapolis and Cleveland? Another biggie in the AFC.
Yeah, this definitely is another biggie, and I'm surprised that this game's actually going to be on Fox. To be quite honest, when to me, I think it should be a CBS game. That's just my opinion, and of course that's your opinion as well. But yeah, of course, Cleveland coming off of I mean Cleveland's been struggling a little bit as of late. I mean 7-5, and of course the big announcement: Brian Hoyer would be the starter over Johnny Manziel, and yeah, so and of course, excuse me, when it comes to the Colts, of course I've loved what I've seen from them as of late. So yeah, and I'm gonna go with the Indianapolis Colts to win this one. I think the final score for me is gonna be I'm gonna go 30. I'm gonna go 34-17. Colts win this one. I think Luck's gonna have a really good game. T.Y. Hilton's gonna have a really good game, and I also think that Colby Fleener, I think, will have a good game. So will Reggie Wayne. So yeah. So there's really nothing else to say except give me the Indianapolis Colts to win this one. So with that being said, Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, game should be. I mean, it's an AFC game. It should be on CBS for God's sake. It's not on Fox, but it is what it is. But 14-13, Cleveland leads the all-time series. Last meeting was 2012 in Indianapolis. The Colts won that 17-13. Last meeting in Cleveland was 2008. Indianapolis won 10-6. Last time the Browns won at home against Indy, you got to go all the way back to 1988. Cleveland won that 23-17. That was the final there. Um, Cleveland coming off a loss to my Buffalo Bills, which was awesome, to be honest with you. I didn't think they were going to do it, but they did. Indy, of course, an easy win against the Dudskins, as we call them, 49-27 beatdown there. Hoyer getting the start over Manziel should be interesting to see how that turns out. Hoyer hasn't been all that great as of late, been throwing a lot of picks, but solid game I expect him to have. I do think Josh Gordon's going to have a good game as well. Isaiah Crowell for Cleveland, but Indy's just too much, man. I mean, Andrew Luck, he's going to go off. Richardson and Bradshaw on the running game. Throw in some T.Y. Hilton, my man. Of course, Reggie Wayne out of the back cave. Kobe Fleener, Dwayne Allen. They're just too loaded, man. I'm telling you. Of course, if Indy wins this game, which I think they will, and if Houston loses, which I don't think is likely, they will win the AFC South. But make a note of this: they will win the AFC South. You heard it here first. So not going to be this week. I think it'll be next week, though, if I'm being honest. So I'm going to agree with you, Michael Bullock. I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts in this one. They're just too loaded right now. They're a 3 to 4 point favorite in this one, so you got to go with Indy in this one. So Indy it is. Final score, I'm going to go 41 to 24. The Indianapolis Colts over the Cleveland Browns in the dog pounds. So nothing left to say on that. So that said, we're going to move on to our next matchup. Unfortunately, there are some meh games on our docket this week. Well, the next two games we're going to be talking about are dud games. So first one is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Detroit Lions. Of course, Lions winning on Thanksgiving against the Chicago Bears. Buccaneers, of course, losing at home to Cincinnati. Meh game there. Of course, it'll be on Fox. Dick Stockton, Brady Quinn, Christina Pink on the call from Ford Field. Detroit a huge favorite. That's not a big surprise. They're 9.5 to 10 point favorites in this one. So looking at the series history between these old NFC Central rivals, I do believe yes, Detroit leads the all-time series 29-26. Um, last meeting was last year, and Tampa Bay actually won in Detroit 24-21. Lions' last win at home against Tampa was 2007. 23-16 was the final there. So I think that'll change here. Stafford, big game. Calvin Johnson, big game. Joy Bell, big game. I think Golden Tate, I think he'll get into the act as well. This is going to be one of my locks of the week, if not my number one lock of the week. So give me the Lions in this one. They're going to win this thing going away. Let's go 38. I'm going to go 38-13. The Detroit Lions roll over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Should be an easy one. So nothing left to say here. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on Tampa Bay and Detroit?
And of course, Florio, you know what I have to do when we talk about a game like this. No, 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 no. I mean, yeah, like you said, this is going to be one of the locks of the week, if not the lock of the week. Of course, the Lions, of course, coming off of a 34-17 win over the Bears on Thanksgiving Day, and as far as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are concerned, not good whatsoever. Of course, coming off of a 14-13 loss last week, so this has got DUD dud written all over it. Detroit's gonna win, and they're gonna win big. The final score for me is gonna be, I'm gonna go 37-10. So Stafford's gonna have a good game. Calvin Megatron Johnson's gonna go off, and here's another big thing. Reggie Bush is expected to make his return after missing 4 of the past 5 games with an ankle injury, but I think you're also going to see Bell get some carries too in this game as well. So really nothing else for me to say except give me the Lions in this one, and of course, after the game they're going to be saying, "Feed me more, feed me more, feed me more, feed me more." Done. So nothing else to say except give me the Lions. So that being said, Florio, let's just move on to the next game.
Which you're going to be leading off on. I hate to do it to you, but it's another dud game.
Oh, no.
Yeah, unfortunately. Luck of the draw. That's what happens when Derek and Fletch aren't with us. But it's going to be the Houston Texans against the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is going to be on CBS. Let me see who's on the call for this one. Bear with me for one moment. It's going to be Brian Anderson and Adam Archuleta. They're going to be on the call for this game. So, Michael Bullock, I hate to do it to you, but your thoughts on Houston and Jacksonville?
No. Yeah, like you said, luck of the draw. All right, let's take a look at the spread according to what I see here. Houston is a 5-point favorite. I don't know why. I mean, I think it should be a little bit higher, if I'm going to be quite honest here. Of course, the Texans, of course, coming off of a 45-21 beatdown of the Tennessee Titans, and Fitzpatrick, Ryan Fitzpatrick, your former boy, Florio, he had a really good game where he threw for 358 yards and 6 touchdowns, and he did not have an interception in that game. As far as the Jaguars are concerned. But and here's the thing with the Jaguars. They were coming off of a 25-24 win over the Giants. I mean, I was really shocked about what happened here. And yeah, you really think they're going to beat the Texans? Need more awards of Dean Ambrose? Nope. Nope. Yeah, give me the Texans in this one. They're going to win. They're going to win big. It's going to be 41-3 in this one. Fitzpatrick, I think he'll have a good game. Arian Foster, I think he'll have a really good game. Hopkins and Andre Johnson will have good games as well. So not really looking forward to this game. So give me the Texans big time. So that being said, Florio, it is yours.
Yeah. 5 to 6 points is the spread for the Houston Texans. Bullock mentioned everything. Houston with the big win, the beatdown of Tennessee behind Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yeah, I was shocked to see that too. I was like, where was that in Buffalo? Yeah, that's all I can say. Where was that in Buffalo when you were there? In Jacksonville, that comeback win against the Giants from 21 down to win. I mean, unbelievable. But Houston leads the all-time series 13-11. Jacksonville actually, believe it or not, Jacksonville won both meetings last year. Jacksonville swept it. They won in Houston and at home against Houston, believe it or not. But Texans' last win in Jacksonville obviously was 2012, 27-7. Jacksonville got a lucky win against them last year. That's not happening this year. The only difference is the Giants suck. Houston is great. So, yeah, they're 6-6, but so what? I mean, they're definitely going to be in contention for a wild card spot, no question. And J.J. Watt, that's all I'm going to say. J.J. Watt. He is going to make Bortles' life a living you-know-what. And Fitzpatrick and Johnson and Foster and all those guys, they're all going to have big games. There's no question about this. Another lock of the week. Houston Texans win this one, and they're going to roll 41-10. That's my final. So we're just going to move on to our next matchup on this abbreviated edition of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday. Going to be back to the big ones here. The Baltimore Ravens against the Miami Dolphins. That's the matchup we're going to get into next. Andrew Catalon, Steve Berline, Steve Tasker on the call for CBS. Miami, a 2.5 to 3 point favorite in this one. And another big one in the AFC. I mean, it's going to be a great matchup. There's no question about it. Miami leads the all-time series 5-4. Last meeting was a year ago. Baltimore won in Miami 26-23. Miami's last win at home against the Ravens was in 2007, which happened to be their only win of that season. As you remember, they won 22-16 in overtime thanks to a great Camarillo touchdown reception. I remember this one very well. And Michael Fletcher's not here, so you know what that means. If he's not here, I'm going to have some fun with this. Yeah, those 2007 Miami Dolphins. Who will ever forget that awesome team, right? 1-15. Remember them? Yeah.
Yeah,
Cleo
who's gonna remember that?
Yeah. The Cleo Lemon thing. How did that work out? Yeah.
That was a DUD dud written all over that one.
They should have gone winless that year. That one win against the Ravens that year, they got lucky. Capital L, lucky. That's all I can say about that. They should have gone winless that year, if I'm being quite honest with you. But anyways, let's get to this. This game's going to be definitely a potential for a five-star classic, no question about it. Two great quarterbacks in Flacco and Tannehill. Should be a great matchup here. Definitely major playoff implications here. They're both 7-5. Baltimore coming off of a tough loss at home to the San Diego Chargers. I mean, they blew a big lead. They lost 34-33 in a five-star classic. And the Dolphins struggled against the Jets on Monday night and still managed to get the win, thanks to a late field goal by Caleb Sturgis. So something has to give here. But if I'm being honest with you, the Ravens have absolutely owned Miami in Miami over the last 6 years or so. And it's because of this, I have to go with the Baltimore Ravens here. I think Flacco's going to have a big game. I'm hoping Justin Forsett's playing. I mean, I know Forsett's battling an injury right now, but I really hope he's playing. He's on my fantasy team, and I really need him because he came up from huge a couple of weeks ago. That game against the New Orleans Saints. I mean, he had the game of his life, and it ended up giving me a victory uh, during that week. So we're in the playoffs now in our Strictly Sports Fantasy Football League. I'm the number 2 seed. I really hope I can get out of the first round. And if Forsett goes, then I like my chances. But if not, then I don't know. That's going to be tough. But anywho, I do expect if Forsett plays, he's going to have a big game. I think he's been having a lot of big games as of late, and that's good. Steve Smith, Torrey Smith, Owen Daniels, maybe some Jacoby Jones. We'll see some of that. Meanwhile, Tannehill, he should have a good game, as well as Mike Wallace and Hartline, Miller in the running game. So it's going to be a tough one, but at the end, I have to go with the Baltimore Ravens in this one. 24-21. That's going to be the final. I like Baltimore in this one, only because they've owned Miami in Miami over the last 6 years, like I said. So give me the Ravens 24-21. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this this next big game in the AFC with Baltimore and Miami?
Yeah, this is a big game here in the AFC, of course, with both teams being 7-5, and yeah, and excuse me, yeah, who could ever forget when these two met in the playoffs, and of course the Baltimore Ravens beat them in 2008 in that playoff game when Tony Sparano was the head coach. Yeah, and of course the Dolphins coming off of a 16-13 win over the Jets. Yeah, I mean, and to me, they should have had no problem with the Jets, but it is what it is, and of course the Ravens, of course, yeah, coming off of of course, I mean, I like what I've seen from them, and I do agree with you. I gotta go with the Ravens in this one. I mean, I just think they're a little bit better than the Miami Dolphins. But here's the thing. I think this could be really close. I'm gonna say, yeah, 24-21. I think it's gonna be the correct score. But here's the thing. The Ravens lost a key guy on the defensive side of the ball, Haloti Ngata. He's been suspended 4 games for substance abuse. Yeah, that's gonna hurt him. But yeah, I think I think Flacco's gonna have a big game. Forsett's gonna have a big game. Steve Smith's gonna have a big game. So yeah, really nothing else for me to say except give me Baltimore in this one. So with that being said, let's move on to the next game, which I'll be talking about.
Indeed, you will. And unfortunately, it's going to be another one of the Met games. It's the luck of the draw. The New York Jets against the Minnesota Vikings. That's going to be our next matchup here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. Thankfully, we're not getting this one. Spiriditas and Solomon Wilcots, they're going to be on the call for this game on CBS from TCF Bank Stadium, University of Minnesota. So, Michael Bullock, I'm sorry, man. I got to do it to you one more time. Jets in Minnesota. Who you got?
Yeah, another meh game. So, yeah, of course, Minnesota comes in. According to the spreads that I see here, they are 5.5-point favorites in this game. Yeah, and surprisingly, the Jets nearly beat the Dolphins in that Monday night game, and yeah, and then of course, yeah, once again, of course, another they blew that one, of course. So yeah, and of course, when it comes to the Minnesota Vikings here, of course, they're coming off the 31-13 win over the Carolina Panthers last week. So yeah, so in this case, I gotta go with the Minnesota Vikings to win this one. Final score for me is going to be I'm going to go 27-10 in this one. I think I think Teddy Bridgewater, I think he'll have a good game. Yeah, I think you'll see Cordell Patterson have a really good game, and yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else for me to say. I mean, except give me the Vikings to beat those, as we like to call them, the Jersey Shore Jets. So really nothing else to say except Florio, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, Minnesota 5 to 6 point favorites. Can't say I'm surprised there. Jets, of course, lost to Miami. We all know that. Minnesota, of course, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they went down too. If I'm not mistaken, or did they? No, no, they won last week. I'm sorry, they won last week against Carolina. So, anyways, Jets lead the all-time series 8-1, believe it or not, including 7 in a row. Last meeting was 2010 in New York. Jets won that 29-20. Last meeting in Minnesota was 2006. Jets won 26-13. Minnesota's only win against the Jets was at home in Minnesota at the old Metropolitan Stadium, as you all know, the old Met, as they called it. And when was that? Well, you got to go all the way back to 1975. That's the only time the Vikings have ever beaten the Jets in a regular season game. So, yeah. Um, Jets are a mess. Let's not kid ourselves. I'm very thankful we're not getting this game because I'm sick of Rex Ryan. I'm sick of this team. I mean, they're terrible. They're god awful. They rank. I
Yeah,
mean,
same here.
they're no better. Yeah, I hear you, both. They're no better than the Jaguars or the Raiders or the Giants, for God's sakes. I mean, you want to talk about hard times for New York? I mean, who would have thought that the Jets and the Giants would both suck? But yeah, but it is what it is, and even more hard times. The Knicks, their basketball team, they're terrible too. I mean, major hard times in New York. The only good thing you got going for you right now is your hockey teams, not just the Rangers, but the Islanders. Go figure. The Islanders are actually doing some things right now, unbelievable. But anyways, the Jets' roles will continue here. It doesn't matter if it's Geno Smith or Michael Vick. That defense will get to them. Um, Bridgewater, big game. Patterson, Asiata, Greg Jennings. Really nothing left to say here. Minnesota wins this one. Final score 24 to 10. Minnesota over the Jets at the University of Minnesota, TCF Bank Stadium. So, yeah, I'm done with this. Let's move on to our next game. Hopefully, we get a better one here on our docket here. Carolina Panthers against the New Orleans Saints. That's going to be our next matchup. Of course, looking at this, New Orleans a big favorite here, 9.5 to 10 point favorites in this one. This game will be on Fox, of course. It's going to be Kenny Albert, Daryl Moose Johnston, Tony Saragusa. They're going to be on the call for this one in the Superdome, the home of the Miracle on Bourbon Street. We all know that. WrestleMania 30, Daniel Bryan. So, yeah, they already met this year. New Orleans won that on a Thursday night. It was a dud game. I believe it was 28-10 was the final there, and that's when New Orleans was getting back into the thick of things. And 20-19, Carolina leads the all-time series. Um, yeah, they split last year, both teams winning at home, and of course, New Orleans already won in Carolina this year. Uh, First time they did that since 2011. Carolina's last win in New Orleans was in 2012. It was a 44-38 five-star classic of a game. And but the Saints won their last year 31-13. So Carolina, of course, got smoked in Minnesota by the Vikings at a TCF Bank Stadium. And of course, New Orleans, after losing 3 in a row at home against very good teams, San Francisco, Cincinnati, and Baltimore, they go into Pittsburgh, very hostile environment, and they beat the Steelers in a 35-32 shootout for their first win in Pittsburgh since 1987. So there's no question about this one. I mean, Carolina's another team that's a mess, if I'm being honest with you. Um, Cam Newton, he's a mess. I don't think he's going to do much of anything. New Orleans, I mean, this is going to be a show me game for them. This is a show me game for them. They have to win this one. I mean, they lost 3 in a row at home. Unacceptable. I say they end the streak here. Drew Brees goes off. Mark Ingram, Marcus Colston, Jimmy Graham, everybody. They're all going to have big games. There's nothing left to say here. Another one of my locks of the week. New Orleans wins this one. They win this one pretty handily. 45-21. That's my final. New Orleans rolls in the dome. Snap that streak. Get back in this division race and make this god awful division actually worth watching because this division is god awful right now. I mean, a 5-7 team needs it for God's sakes. Come on, no. And it's because of that. A good team, a team that a 10-6, 9-7, maybe even an 11-5 teams can actually miss out on the postseason. Injustice. They really need to tweak. They really need to tweak this playoff system. They really do. 45-24, New Orleans wins. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on Carolina and New Orleans?
Yeah. Yeah. The Saints leading their division at 5-7. I mean, come on, man. That is just ridiculous. I mean, pointless, unnecessary, unacceptable, and inexcusable. I mean, this is just a mediocre division, and I mean, I can't believe I'd be saying this, but a team with a winning record couldn't miss out on the playoffs, and a team with a losing record couldn't not just make the playoffs, but win the division. They got to fix this playoff system. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, getting to this game, of course, the Saints coming off of a 35-32 win, of course, over Pittsburgh, and of course, the Panthers losing big time to the Minnesota Vikings. Hard times year for Carolina, if I'm going to be quite honest here. Yeah, so Saints are going to win. They're going to win big time. Final score for me, I'm going to go 48-21 is going to be the final score. Breeze is going to go off. Jimmy Graham's going to go off. Ingram's going to go off. Yeah, so really nothing else to say except give me the Saints in this one. And as far as that NFC South, that is just a mediocre division, and they need to fix this playoff system. It's just stupid the way it is right now. I got nothing else to say. I'm done. I'm finished with this nonsense. Florio, please, let's move on.
Yeah, I hate to do it to you yet again, Michael Bullock, but the luck of the draw is going to get to you again. One of the dud games of I could actually call this the zonk game of the week on either side. The New York Giants against the Tennessee Titans. Oh my goodness. This game's on Fox, and unfortunately, to make matters even worse, we're actually getting this game on our Fox affiliate. I cannot believe it. That is horrible, but it is what it is. Tom Brenneman, David Deal, Laura Oakman, they're going to be at LP Field in Nashville for this one. So, Mr. Bullock, I hate to do it to you, but luck of the draw got you again. So, Giants in Tennessee, your thoughts?
No. I mean, oy. I mean, let's face it, New York Giants, I mean, they're a 1.5 point favorites when it comes to this. Yeah, of course. Yeah, New York Giants. Here's the thing. You had a 21-0 lead over the Jaguars, and then you basically blow it and lose to the dud Jaguars 25-24? Really? Ugh. All I can say about this team is, yeah. Tom Coughlin, I hate to say this, but I think after this, I think he's going to get fired at the end of the season. I mean, and it's just a damn shame. I mean, here's a guy who won 2 Super Bowl championships for the Giants. Of course, unfortunately, coming at the expense of my New England Patriots. And you were thinking this guy's going to stick around for a long time, but I think after this loss to the Jaguars, I think it's pretty much sealed his fate. So, yeah. And of course, when it comes to the Tennessee Titans, yeah, really nothing good to say about them after they got beaten up by by the Texans. So if I'm gonna have to pick a winner, I gotta go with the Giants in this one. Final score for me is gonna be I'm gonna go 20. I'm gonna go 24 to 10 in this one. So Eli Manning, I think he'll have a good game. Jennings is gonna have a good game. Odell Beckham, I think he's gonna have a good game. So yeah, so really nothing else to say except give me the Giants and like I said, I'm going on the record. Tom Coughlon's gonna get fired at the end of the season. Damn shame when it comes to that. So I got nothing else to say except Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, major hard times indeed. I mean, you think for 1 minute I'm going to waste a second on this game? You're out of your goddamn mind. I'm not putting up with this. No way. Um, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, that's the game of choice right there. I don't care what anybody says on our end. But tale of two histories here. I mean, they've met 10 times. The Giants won the first five. Tennessee's won the last five. Go figure. Tennessee's on a 5-game winning streak dating back all the way to 1997 when they were the Tennessee Oilers. We all remember that. Um, last meeting was in 2010. Tennessee won 29-10. That was in New York. Uh, last meeting in Nashville was in 2006. Tennessee won that 24-21. Then last time the Giants won at this franchise, you got to go all the way back to 1994 when the Giants won at the Astrodome when they were the Houston Oilers. 13-10 was the final there. Um, so 5 consecutive wins in this series for the Tennessee Oilers / Titans, dating back to '97. So yeah, that streak should end here. I mean, Tennessee was smoked by Houston in Houston last week, and the Giants, that collapse, that epic collapse, losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars and blowing a 21-point lead in the process. Yeah. Tom Coughlin, we all thought you were going to have a job for life there after that second Super Bowl win, but this keeps up. You know, John Mara and that front office, they're going to say enough's enough. We're going to have to let you go. So, because we want a winner, we want to get back to the Super Bowl. We want to get back to the promised land. And this is not the promised land. We've gone from the penthouse to the outhouse in one foul swoop. So, but all I know is Eli Manning, hopefully he'll have a solid game here. Hopefully he'll have a big game here. Rashad Jennings, Andre Williams, Odell Beckham Jr., along with Ruben Randall, Preston Parker, and hopefully that defense will get to Mettenberger. So, G-Man, I'm going to give you one more chance here. This is a winnable game. Hopefully you can take advantage of it this time. So I'm going to go with the Giants in this one, reluctantly. Bullock is right. They are a small favorite. It's a 1 to 1.5 spread. So I'm going with the Giants in this one. Final score, I'm going to say I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I'm going to say 17-14. That's going to be my final score. 17-14 Giants over Tennessee and Nashville. So nothing left to say here. We're just going to move on to our next game on this abbreviated edition of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday. Let's see what we have here. Another meh game, and thankfully it's the last of our early games. St. Louis Rams going up against the Washington Redskins. Of course, this game can be seen on Fox. Let's see who's going to have this one. It's going to be, bear with me for a moment. Okay. It's going to be Sam Rosen, Kirk Morrison, and Peter Schrager. They're going to have the call for this game in Landover, FedEx Field. Series history, I do believe it favors, well, actually, let's see who it favors. Washington. Washington leads the all-time series 22-10 with a tie. The tie came back in 1967 in Los Angeles when they were the LA Rams 28-all. Last meeting was 2012. Rams won that in St. Louis 31-28. Last meeting in Washington was in 2009. Washington won 9-7. Huh. Yeah, 5-star classic. Talk about a 5-star classic. The Rams' last win in Washington was the year before, 2008. 1917. That's when the Rams last won in Washington. So, yeah. Looking at the spreads for this one, it favors the Rams by 3. Um, but all I can say is major hard times in Washington right now. I mean, we always say the Jets are the Jersey Shore team. Well, this team's like the Jersey Shore, Kardashians, Real Housewives of whatever city it is, because they got drama coming out of the wazoo. I'm telling you. I mean, Jay Gruden's always, blaming somebody, always criticizing his quarterback play, mainly RG3 and all that. But Colt McCoy had a solid output. He had a very good game against Indianapolis despite the loss. I mean, he had a huge game, but it wasn't enough as Indianapolis won 49-27. And then, of course, the Rams. What did the Rams do? Ooh. Did you see what they did against the Rejects last week? The Oakland Rejects, Oakland Raiders, whatever you want to call them. 52-0. Wow. Impressive. But all I can say is I'm gonna go with St. Louis. I think Sean Hill's gonna have a big game. I think Trey Mason's gonna have another big game. Kenny Brett, I'd like him to have a big game as well. Um, the Skins are a mess. That's why they're not the Redskins. No, they're the Dud Skins, and that's what they are. And they're gonna remain that way for the rest of this year. I mean, that's another team that's a mess. So I'm sick of that drama just as much as I'm sick of the Jets and Rex Ryan. I'm sick of Jay Gruden, and I'm sick of this team too. I mean, I'm glad we're not getting this game because I would have tuned this one out too. So give me St. Louis in this one. Final score, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 30-13. The St. Louis Rams over the Washington Redskins at FedEx Field, or the Doug Skins. So I'm done with this. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on St. Louis and Washington?
Yeah. Yeah, this is another one of the meh games when it comes to this. Yeah, I mean, the Rams, I mean, oy, oy, oy. I mean, they just put a beat down on the Oakland Rejects, 52-0, and their defense forced 5 turnovers, and while their offense basically didn't even have a turnover at all when it comes to this game. And yeah, the Redskins, I mean, they got some major hard times. So, you know what? I really got nothing else to say except I'm going to say the final score is going to be 31-10 is going to be the final. You know what? I'm done with this game. So, with that being said, Florio, let's just move on to the next game, which I'll talk about because I'm done with this nonsense.
And thankfully, Michael Bullock, the luck of the draw, not going to get you this time. You're actually going to get to lead off on a good game here. Another good game in the AFC side of the ledger. As we go into the late games now, we're in the 4 o'clock games now. And what a game for you to lead off on. What a game for you to lead off on, my man here. Kansas City Chiefs against the Arizona Cardinals. That's what you're going to be leading off on. I know you're very happy about that. So let's see who's going to be calling this game. It's going to be the great Greg Gumbel. Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Evan Washburn. They're going to be on the call from the desert at University of Phoenix Stadium, home of Super Bowl 49. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this huge game, KC and Arizona?
Yeah, this is a huge game here, and yeah, the Arizona Cardinals are 9-3. Well, the Chiefs go in at 7-5, and according to the spread that I see here, some are saying this is even when it comes to this. So yeah, that's a little bit of a surprise when it comes to this. Yeah, of course. I mean, Arizona, of course, is coming off of a 29-18 loss to the Atlanta Falcons in that game, and the thing is, I mean, Drew Stanton hasn't played well. I mean, since starting for Carson Palmer when he went down with that injury, Drew Stanton has thrown only 3 touchdowns and 5 picks and completing only nearly 61% of his passes. And the other thing is Larry Fitzgerald hasn't played, so that hurts their offense a little bit. And yeah, and of course the Kansas City Chiefs, of course they had their 5-game. And the thing is, last week, well, they came off of a 29-16 loss to the Denver Broncos on Sunday Night Football, and Yeah. So, and the thing is, of course, Jamal Charles, he does have a bruised knee, but he will start in this game. So, man, this is a tough one to call. I mean, this should be a good game. As much as I want to go with the Arizona Cardinals in this one, I'm going to surprise them. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs to win this one. I think the final score is going to be. I'm going to go 30 to. I'm going to go 30 to 21. I think is going to be the final. I think Alex Smith's going to have a good game. Jamal Charles is going to have a good game. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I want to go with Arizona, but I just don't really have that much confidence in them, especially when you got Drew Stanton with the way he has been playing good as of late. So call me crazy, but I'm going with Kansas City in this one. So that being said, Florio, it's yours.
No, I'm not gonna call you crazy, man. I mean, Arizona's been struggling, and I don't blame you one bit. I mean, but the spreads that I have, two spreads are pick'ems, and the other two actually favors Kansas City by one. So that's it. Um, I mean, but something tells me about Arizona. I mean, Arizona's at home. I mean, I don't think they've lost at home this year. I think all three of their losses, yes, all three of their losses were on the road. Um, they're undefeated at home, and that's why I have to slight shiftly. I have to have a slight shift to Arizona in this one, if I'm being honest. Series history: 8-2 with a tie for Kansas City. The one tie was in 1970, their very first meeting, 6-6 in Kansas City. Well, Mr. Bullock does have a case. Kansas City has won the last three meetings in this series, so he's won three, and they've won three in a row. So you got something. You got something there, Bullock. Last meeting was 2010, 31-13. Kansas City won in Kansas City. Last meeting in Arizona was 2006. Kansas City won that 23-20. And the last time Arizona won at home against KC was back in 2001. 24-16 was the final there. So Kansas City is definitely going to bring it, no question about it. I mean, I know Kansas City's got the advantage right now. I can surely see that, but I don't know, man. There's just something about Arizona. I mean, especially at home, considering that they're undefeated there. Until they lose there, I honestly cannot go against them. And Drew Stanton seems to be better off at home than on the road. So he's got to hope that Arizona can get that home field advantage in the NFC. And if they do, then it'll definitely, give him a chance. But if he has to go on the road, I honestly don't like his chances because he's terrible on the road, but he's awesome at home. So even though I think Alex Smith's going to have a great game, I think Jamal Charles is going to do well too, and Dwayne Bowe and Donnie Avery and Anthony Fasano. There's just something about Arizona. I mean, I think Drew Stanton's going to have a solid game here because Stanton plays well at home. He's better off at home, and John Brown, Michael Floyd, they'll have big games in Ellington. So I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to go with Arizona in this one. Final score 21-17. That's going to be my final. No, actually make that 20-17. That's what I'm going to do. 20-17 is going to be my final in favor of Arizona because they're undefeated at home. And until they lose at home, honestly, I can't go against them. So I'm going with Zona, 20-17. That's the final. So that said, let's move on to our next matchup here. Going to be, I believe, I just want to confirm it. Yes, Buffalo Bills against the Denver Broncos. That's the game that's next. This game's going to be on CBS, of course. Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon, they're going to be on the call from Sports Authority Field in Mile High. Denver, a huge favorite, 9 to 10 point favorite in this one. I mean, yeah. Buffalo, of course, with that huge win against the Cleveland Browns at home, and then Denver, with a big win of their own, going into Arrowhead on a very chilly night in Kansas City, came away with a big win there. So Buffalo leads the all-time series 19-15 with a tie. That was in 1960. They had a 38-38 tie in Denver. Buffalo, however, has won the last two meetings in this series. Buffalo won the last meeting in 2011, 40-14 in Buffalo, and they also won last time they met in Denver, which was in 2008. Buffalo pulled a huge upset, 30-23. Denver's last win at home against Buffalo was in 2002, 28-23, the final there. I want to make a note of this. Our good friend and super fan of the show, Jason Hixenball, he actually commented on my Facebook saying that he actually likes Buffalo in an upset here because he says that Peyton Manning has not really done all that well against Buffalo. Um, because when he was in Indianapolis, they would play him twice, and he mentioned to me that Buffalo knocked him around a little bit. So he actually likes the Buffalo Bills in this one, which I'm really surprised. I mean, to be honest with you, but nonetheless, Jason Hixenbaugh is going with the the Buffalo Bills. So yeah, that's kind of shocking to me, but I just want to pull this up real quick. What Jason Hixenbaugh said in his comment to me. He says, Anthony Florio, I'm calling upset right now. Peyton Manning is awful versus Buffalo all time. When he started, he played them twice every year and got beat up. That's what Jason Hixenbaugh commented to me on the Facebook a little while ago as we were getting ready for this abbreviated edition of our show. So, but as much as I want to go with Hixenbaugh, and I do, you really think this Bills team, this particular Bills team against this particular Bronco team, you really think Buffalo has a chance of going to Denver and beating this team, for God's sakes? No, absolutely not. Don't get me wrong. I think Kyle Orton's going to have a solid game. Fred Jackson and Dixon, they'll have some good games. And Sammy Watkins, I think he'll have a solid game. And Robert Woods. But Peyton Manning, yeah. Yes, he was average last week because they went conservative. They went with the running game and C.J. Anderson, who's going to have another big game, by the way, because that Bills' run defense is not so good. So Manning, big game. Anderson, big game. Demaryius Thomas, Wes Welker, Emmanuel Sanders, they're all going to have big games. This should be an easy one for Denver. So I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos to win this game. Final score, I'm going to go 35-17. The Denver Broncos all over my Buffalo Bills. No chance in hell Buffalo wins this game. But if they win this game, oh my God, that's going to be the biggest win for this team in forever and a day. So, but it ain't happening. No way. They got lucky in 08. They're not getting lucky in 2014. No way. 35-17, Denver over Buffalo. Book it. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on Buffalo and Denver?
Yeah, like you said, Denver, of course, is a 10-point favorite. Yeah, of course, like I said, Denver coming off of a 29-16 win over Kansas City. And of course, the Bills, of course. Yeah, of course, coming off of a loss last week. Yeah, so yeah, this one should be no problem for the Denver Broncos. I mean, the guy that I've really been impressed with is C.J. Anderson, and yeah, in the last 2 weeks, he's had a total of 335 yards rushing, and yeah, I mean that's really, of course, he's been filling in, of course, for Monty Ball and Ronnie Hillman. So yeah, yeah, so there's really nothing else to say. You pretty much touched on everything when it comes to them. So I'm going to Denver. I'm saying Denver's going to win this one. Final score is going to be 41 to 14 is going to be the final. So yeah, Manning's going to have a really big game. Anderson's going to have a big game. And that wide receiving tandem of Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, and I think Wes Welker's going to come out and have a good game. And here's another thing: Julius Thomas is going to return. I mean, there's a possibility that Julius Thomas could return, so that could be huge as well. So, but either way, Denver's going to have no problem. So, yeah, so give me the Broncos in this one. So with that being said, Florio, let's move on to the next 4 o'clock game that I'll be talking about.
I promise you, this is the last time for this week that the luck of the draw is going to get you. This is the last time, I promise you.
Oh, no, I think I know what you're talking about.
The Fox portion. The San Francisco 49ers against the Oakland Raiders. That's going to be the
Oh,
next game on our docket here. Chris
oh,
Myers, Rondé Barber, Jennifer Hale. They're going to have the call from the O.CO Coliseum in Oakland. Last time, I promise you, Mr. Bolga, and the next time it comes to you, it's going to be a huge makeup, to say the very least. So, San Francisco and Oakland, Mr. Bullock, you're up.
oh. Yeah, and I'll say it again. No, 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 no. Um, yeah, San Francisco, 8.5 point favorites. To me, it should be a little bit higher if I'm going to be quite honest, because they are facing the Oakland Raiders, or the Oakland Rejects, as we like to call them. So, yeah, of course, the 49ers, of course, losing on Thanksgiving night, 19-3 to the Seattle Seahawks, and of course, Oakland being beaten down 52-0 by the St. Louis Rams. So, yeah, so I'm not going to get into any further details on it. So I'm going to say the 49ers are going to win this one. Final score is going to be 41-0. Is going to be the final. Kaepernick's going to go. Kaepernick's going to go off. Frank Gore's going to go off. Bolden's going to go off. Also, Vernon Davis is going to go off. So, yeah, really nothing else to say except 49ers are going to win big time. This is going to be like a Ryback squash or a Rusev crush. So, really nothing else to say except let's move on to you, Florio.
Yeah, 8.5 to 9 is the spread for San Francisco. Mr. Bullock touched on it. San Francisco losing at home on Thanksgiving to the Super Bowl champion Seahawks 19-3, and the Raiders. Well, I'm not going to get into that. I mean, we already talked about that. Um, Series history, believe it or not, 6-6, 6-all. It's a 6-6 series. San Francisco has won the last 3 meetings. Last meeting was 2010. San Francisco won in San Francisco 17-9. Last time the Raiders beat the 49ers was in the year 2000, back when the Raiders were actually good. You remember when they had Rich Gannon and Jerry Rice in them? 34-28 in overtime. Oakland won in San Francisco. Last time the Raiders won at home against the 49ers, Mr. Bullock, you got to go all the way back to 1991 when the Raiders were in Los Angeles, under the Los Angeles Raiders. 12-6 was the final in that one at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. So, yeah, that drought's going to get extended. There's no way this Raider team's going to beat the 49ers. No way. Especially after how piss poor they were against the Rams. No way. Big game for Kaepernick. Big game for Gore. Big game for Davis. Big game for Bolden, Johnson. The defense. They're going to fluster Derek Carr. They're going to manhandle him. They'll contain Darren McFadden. So there's nothing left to say here. Another lock of the week. 49ers win. They win big. Final score 41. I'm going to go 41-10. That's going to be my final. Another 41-10 score. So with that said, let's move on to our next game, which is the big one in the NFC. When it comes to the NFC side of the ledger, another one of the games of the week. Seattle Seahawks, Philadelphia Eagles, America's game of the week, and you know what that means. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Aaron Andrews, they're going to be on the call from Philadelphia. I'm going to get Financial Field. Big one here. I mean, Seattle winning against San Francisco last week, big one there. And then, of course, Philadelphia also won big on Thanksgiving. They went into Dallas and absolutely had their way with the Cowboys. 33-10 was the final there. Spread favors Philadelphia 1 to 1.5. So yeah, should be a good one here. Philadelphia leads the all-time series 7-6. Last meeting was 2011. Seattle won that in Seattle 31-14. Last game in Philadelphia was 2007. Seattle won that 28-24. Matter of fact, Seattle's won the last 3 meetings against Philadelphia in Philadelphia, and they've including 2 shutouts. Last time Philadelphia won at home against Seattle, you got to go all the way back to 1989. 31-7 was the final there. So very tough to call, no question about it. I think this is the toughest one to call, if I'm being honest with you, because both teams playing really good right now. especially both with huge wins on Thanksgiving Day on the road against one of their most fiercest division rivals. But something about me says with this game being in Philadelphia that I got to go with Philly here. Um, this game was in Seattle. I would definitely go with Seattle because of how damn good they are in Seattle, that 12th man and everything else. But with this being in Philadelphia, I got to go with Philly. I think Mark Sanchez is going to have a big game, believe it or not. Uh, Although I think Russell Wilson's going to have a big game too. Marshawn Lynch, Sean McCoy, I expect both of them to have big games. Um, but it's just Philly's receiving core is that much better than Seattle's. Don't get me wrong, Baldwin's good, Curse is good, Lockett's good, but Philly, you got Macklin, you got Selleck, you got Ertz, you got Cooper, Matthews. I mean, they're gonna all have big games here. So I'm gonna go with the Philadelphia Eagles in this one. Final score 27-24. Philadelphia over Seattle. America's Game of the Week on Fox. Buck Aikman and Andrews, you're gonna have a fun one in the Philadelphia. So give me the Eagles 27-24. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this, top game in the NFC, this NFC heavyweight showdown, Seattle and Philly.
Yeah, like you said, of course, when it comes to the Seahawks, of course, they're coming off a 19-3 manhandling of the 49ers in San Francisco. And, I mean, of course, the Eagles, coming off of a 33-10 beatdown of the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I mean, that was something really impressive. I mean, this is why the Eagles, they are, this is why they're one of the teams that's competing for that NFC East. So, yeah, you pretty much touched on everything else, Florio. So, yeah, this is tough to call. I mean, if this game was in Seattle, I would go with the Seahawks to win it, but this game is in Philadelphia, so I got to go with the Eagles in this one. Final score for me is going to be, I'm going to go 24-21. I think it's going to be the final. Mark Sanchez, I think he'll have a good game. LaShawn McCoy, I think he's definitely going to go off. So really nothing else for me to say except give me the Philadelphia Eagles. So with that being said, Florio, let's move on to Sunday Night Football.
And the best part about this is, Mr. Bullock, I told you I was going to make it up to you. You got to lead off on it, my man. It's your team, the New England Patriots, going up against the San Diego Chargers, Sunday Night Football on NBC. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya, Qualcomm Stadium, sunny San Diego. Nothing left to say here. Game of the week in the AFC. There's nothing left to say here. Michael Bullock, your team against San Diego. Your thoughts on this heavyweight showdown in the AFC?
Yes, this is definitely a heavyweight showdown. Of course, according to the spreads here, the Patriots are a 4-point favorite in this one. And of course, the Patriots come off of a 26-21 loss in what was a 5-star classic, if I'm going to be quite honest, and lived up to being, well, the game of the week when it comes to that. And yeah, and I'll tell you this right now, Florio. If we were doing a power rankings, I would put the New England Patriots at number 2. I wouldn't even drop them that much because let's face it. I mean, they played a really good game. It's just that they ran into a much better team in the Green Bay Packers. And of course, for the San Diego Chargers, of course, they're coming off of a win over a 34-33 win over the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore, thanks to a 3-touchdown effort by Phillip Rivers. And here's the thing. I mean, the last time these two have had a long history, especially in the postseason. Of course, who could remember the 2006 AFC Divisional Playoff game. That was where, of course, the Patriots went in against the top-seeded San Diego Chargers and upset them. Of course, eventually losing in the AFC title game, and then the following year, they met in the AFC Championship game in Foxborough, and of course won that one. They met again in 2010 in San Diego. That was the last time these two met in San Diego. The Patriots won that one, and then the last actual meeting between the Patriots and Chargers was, of course, 2011, and that was the one, of course, where Vince Wilfork, of all the defensive guys, would come up with the interception in that game. Who could ever forget Big Vince running down the sideline? So, yeah, so very tough to call when it comes to this. I'm going to say, you know what? As much as I want to go with the Chargers, I mean, I got to go with the New England Patriots. I mean, because I don't see this Patriots team losing back-to-back games. I think this team's is definitely gonna come to play after losing such a tough game. And here's the other thing: the Patriots are 5-0 when Tom Brady has played against Phillip Rivers in the San Diego Chargers. So I think, to me, it's going to go 6-0. Final score for me, I think it's going to be, I'm going to go 38-31 is going to be the final. I think Brady's going to have a good game. Gronk's going to have a good game. I think you'll see a little bit of Brandon LaFell and maybe some LeGarrette Blount, and I think you're going to see guys like Darrelle Revis and Brandon Browner get physical with this with the wide receivers they have in San Diego and in Royal and of course Floyd. So I'm going to go with the Patriots to win this one. So with that being said, Florio, your thoughts?
Game of the week in the AFC. There's no question about this. I mean, heavyweight showdown. New England the favorite. Let me see. I believe it's 3.5 to 4. Yeah, 3.5 to 4 for New England. New England, of course, losing in that game of the century to the Green Bay Packers, 26-21 at Lambeau. San Diego, of course, with that huge win in Baltimore against the Ravens, 34-33, that big comeback win. Of course, series history favors New England, 20-14 with 2 ties. 1965, 10-10 tie in Boston. 1967, 31-31 tie in San Diego. Well, touch on everything else. Last meeting was 2011. New England won in Foxborough, 35-21. They've won 2 meetings in a row. Last time San Diego beat the Patriots at home was in 2008, 30-10 in San Diego. That was when Matt Castle was starting. That was when Tom Brady was hurt that year. Last meeting in San Diego, like Bullock said, was 2010. New England won 23-20. Chargers' last win at home was 2008, 30-10. So Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, both are going to have big games. There's no question about it. The running game, they got LeGarrette Blount and Jonas Gray. Maybe we'll see if he gets in because he's done nothing. He's been MIA since that huge game he had against Indianapolis. But he's going to have a big game, I think. Shane Vereen, of course. And then the receiving core, Rob Gronkowski, big game for him, Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, Brandon LaFell, and then San Diego with Rivers and Ryan Matthews, who's back in the lineup. Maybe some Brandon Oliver, I don't know. Keenan Allen, Antonio Gates, Malcolm Floyd, Eddie Royal, all have big games. I don't really think we're going to see much of defense in this one. I think this is going to be a shootout. So, tough one to call, but last time New England lost back-to-back games was 2 years ago when they lost at home to Arizona in week 2, and then the following week they lost in Baltimore in a 5-star Sunday night game against the Ravens in Baltimore. So that was the last time they lost 2 in a row. It's not often they do that, especially during the Belichick era. So yeah, I don't see that happening here. As much as I would love to go with San Diego, and as much as I kind of want to see San Diego win and kind of throw in some chaos in the AFC, I'm going to say New England wins this one as well. I'm going to agree with you, Michael Bullock, in this one. Final score, I'm going to go just a smidge higher than you. 41-34. That's going to be my final. the New England Patriots over the San Diego Chargers. Should be a five-star classic at Qualcomm Stadium tomorrow night. Should be a damn good game. And to me, this is the real game of the week right here. I don't care what anybody says. So one game left before we wrap up this abbreviated edition of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday. No, remember, no power rankings, and of course, we'll do our usual. Well, we'll skip the shout-outs, but we'll do a brief little shout-out. That's all I can say there. So Monday Night Football, Atlanta Falcons, Green Bay Packers, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters. They'll be there for it. So there's really nothing. All I can say is battle of division leaders. Falcons 5-7 lead the South. Green Bay, if we were doing the power rankings, they would be the number one team in the power rankings. And believe it or not, Michael Bullock, I mean, Green Bay is a huge favorite. 13 to 14 point favorites are the Packers. I mean, my goodness. Green Bay leads the all-time series 14-12. They've won the last three meetings in this series, including the playoff game in Atlanta a few years ago. Last meeting was in Green Bay last year. Green Bay won 22-21. Last time Atlanta won in Green Bay was in 2008, 27-24. Falcons beat the Packers at Lambeau. That's the last time they did it. Atlanta, of course, coming off an impressive win against Arizona, 29-18. Of course, we know what Green Bay did. They beat the Patriots, game of the century, 26-21 at Lambeau. Number one team in the power rankings, no question about it. It is the Green Bay Packers. I mean, how can they not be? Not a lot to say here. Aaron Rodgers, big game. Randall Cobb, big game. Jordy Nelson, big game. Perhaps we'll see some Andrew Corliss. Maybe we'll see some Richard Rodgers. Maybe we'll see, we're going to get some Eddie Lacy, no doubt about it. Clay Matthews in that defense, they should have a big game. But I do think Matt Ryan will have a solid game. Julio Jones, Roddy White, Harry Douglas, with Jacquizz Rodgers and Steven Jackson. Could be a shootout, but to me, it's going to be the Green Bay Packers. I like them in this one. I'm going to go 38-28, the Green Bay Packers over the Atlanta Falcons on Monday night on the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. And they will continue to be the number one team in our power rankings by doing so. So give me Green Bay 38-28. Nothing left to say here. Michael Bullock, Monday Night Football, Atlanta and Green Bay, your thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, of course, Green Bay would definitely be the number one team in the power rankings if we were doing the power rankings. Coming off of a 26-21 win over the Patriots, of course, lived up to that game of the century. And Aaron Rodgers, I mean, what he did in that game, I mean, 368 yards passing and a couple of touchdowns, and yeah, and of course, Atlanta, like you said about them, of course, coming off a 29-18 win over Arizona last week. So, yeah, I mean, Green Bay a big time favorite at home in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. So, yeah, really nothing else to say except I got the Green Bay Packers winning this one. The final score is going to be 38-21 is going to be the final. Rodgers is going to he's going to go off. So really nothing else to say except give me Green Bay in this one. So with that being said, Florio, let's wrap up this abbreviated edition of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday.
Absolutely, man. And of course, when it comes to our shout-outs, when we do our shout-outs, it's to our usual folks, the Woodson family, Matt Ward, Jason Hickson-Baugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our old friends, Derek Ferrera, who couldn't be with us tonight because he was covering the UFC 181 pay-per-view. Michael Fletcher, of course, had plans on this Saturday night, so he wasn't going to be with us tonight. Of course, all of our personalities, the local personalities, our national personalities, from ESPN and Fox Sports 1 and all of them, our friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Michaela Johnson, Brendan Kirby, and of course, Stata Sorrell, Lindsey McCormick, we got to send them shout-outs as well. So that's going to do it for this abbreviated edition of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday. Of course, maybe, I don't know if Michael Bullock is willing to do this, but maybe you might want to post your power rankings on your Facebook page or something like that. So at least our fans get some sort of money's worth when it comes to that. So, not tonight, obviously. Maybe sometime tomorrow if you have a moment. You could just, do your 10-to-1 power rankings on your Facebook page, so at least we'll know since Derek did a blog and whatnot. So that's what I'm going to do. Maybe sometime later on or sometime tomorrow or something like that. So, of course, future content to be on the lookout for. Of course, Monday night, the Wrestling Forum, Derek Ferrera's channel, SLB 2008-09. We're going to recap the Slammy Awards, Slammy Award edition of Monday Night Raw, the go-home show for TLC, or TLCS as it's now being called. So, yeah, and then, of course, I don't know where we go from there because, we just had our season finale of Strictly Sports College Football Friday. So, of course, don't forget, 12:30 on ESPN, it's the College Football Playoff Selection Show. Who's going to be in? Who's going to be out? That's all I can say. I cannot wait to see how that goes down. So that's going to do it for us, of course. I know Michael Bullock feels the same way with his shout-outs, so we're not going to keep you folks up any longer. So until Monday night, for the Wrestling Forum on Derek Ferrera's channel at 2008-09, this is Ridiculously Over Anthony Boyer for the Phenom and the Vice President of the Rhode Island Chapter of the X Movement, Mr. Michael Bullock, saying, you know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Enjoy your NFL Sunday, and enjoy the College Football Selection Show. We cannot wait to find out who gets in and who gets left out. So until Monday night for the Forum, you've been watching this abbreviated edition of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other and enjoy your NFL Sunday.